Silence away. Fire on running.
Call this meeting of the Beach Park School Board to order. We do have a quorum, which I'll please stand for pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Change to the agenda. I would like to add an executive session to the agenda. It would come after the last comments. Virtual. Okay. Any other changes to the agenda?
I have the, school board operating agreements. I don't know if we want to just make note that pass those out and maybe we can put that on the, I think the board comment section would be appropriate.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we accept the revised agenda, executive session at the end of the last community comment. On our agenda.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your left hand. Thank you. Unanimous. Okay. And this time, noticing that there's no recipients of accolades, I'd like to just be able to add that in if and when we use that opportunity to see any objections.
Nope. No.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay, first community comments.
We have one received electronically. And I don't know if it's community comment or if it should also scheduled to be here for reports. So probably just two of the same thing. I'll just read it because we received it. Good evening. I will not be attending tonight's board meeting. This is from Jeff Daly. I will not be attending tonight's board meeting. ARESP does not have anything to report for this month. There have been no union issues, primarily because of the open communication and positive relationships we have with the administration. I'm saddened by Amanda's decision to resign after the school year. This will be an incredible loss for our school and district. Her leadership and empowerment have helped me take risks professionally. I would not have applied for my current position in the office if she hadn't been the principal. She's been an incredible ray of kindness, confidence, and wisdom, and her leadership inspires me to be a better employee every day. Even when we disagree, I trust her leadership. She truly wants what is best for students and has worked tirelessly to follow the ridiculous guidelines and ever-changing rules set by ODE. I've sat in meetings with her and witnessed firsthand her patience and understanding for staff and students. She's worked so hard to make everyone feel like they belong here. I'm deeply saddened to hear she feels like it is her time to leave. Thank you, Jess Daly, Attendance Secretary Registrar.
Thank you, Jess.
Any others? John?
That was the only comment of the meeting.
Thank you. We're going to move into reports with, Ms. O'Brien being on medical leave. We're going to jump right down to Mr. Euling.
Good evening. On Thursday, the 27th of April, we had our first career/job fair. Since I've been here, I think it went really well for our first time getting it up and going. We had 14 vendors there. We'll send out thank yous and elicit information to see how we can improve on next year. We've already been contacted by others that by word of mouth that found out about it that would like to be invited next year, so we're making a list of those. So I thought that was well done. And then on February 3rd, we had an extremely successful freshman orientation. We had over 30 parents there, which is the biggest, I think, attended thing that we put on outside of a board meeting by parents since I've been here. And so we had Aspire, Trio, Recruit Hippo, all there in attendance. Parents could ask questions and get information. And both those things were spearheaded by Kelly Lux. So great job on her part for taking that over. Today we had forecasting for the fall for 7th through 11th graders. And that's just, they kind of select classes that they would like to choose from. The 6th grade will do theirs when they come up to our building on June 6th. State testing is currently going on. Yay. So we do have 2 data points from the fall and winter from MAPS testing. Generally across the board, our RTI scores have increased in some classes quite dramatically, which is great. The side note to that is we're still very far behind. I mean,
RTI,
RIT.
RIT.
Yeah, the RIT score.
What is the RIT
The
score?
RIT score is shows the growth, what they made from fall.
So it's not
to
an
winter.
acronym or anything?
I don't remember the acronym,
Okay.
but it's
Sure
sure
it is.
I know I'm gonna always ask.
Yeah,
you for
It's
the
a
acronym.
statistical data point.
Okay.
And I don't remember exactly what the acronym is for.
Trust your stat dictionary.
I will look that up.
Computer.
So, you know, good thing is we're making improvement. The sad note is that we're well behind. And we knew we were going to be coming out of COVID. So we just have to find ways in which we can continue to improve and get kids caught up. So that's going to kind of be our biggest thing. I would like to give big kudos to my staff for the gains that they made, but we have work we have to do.
When you say behind, do you mean behind national scores, behind
National
state
scores.
scores?
National
behind
scores.
both? Just
They
national.
they don't have state, it just, they rank you where you're at, and then they rank you for the, we're at national level.
Okay.
On the paperwork that I have, so. Let's see. Spring sports are winding down. They're heading into districts in a week or so. Next Wednesday, I'll be taking the Adams family, Jessica Hitchcock and Kylie Smith to Atlanta to attend the Ron Clark Academy. We're all excited to see things there and how they can help us grow and become a better teachers and better district. So kind of excited about that. And then I did attend Wide Open Spaces Conference in Bend, where I was reintroduced to a program called eScience. I was kind of introduced to it, but it was during COVID, so it wasn't really pertinent that we were going to be able to do anything. But I signed up for it, and we'll be getting that this fall. And what this does is it's a series of brain games that measure 9 different aptitudes using artificial intelligence to find out where your natural talents lie. And so it matches those talents or aptitudes to your interests, and then shows you what careers you could excel in. And so what that does in terms of school is it makes it relevant, because it ties your natural abilities, your interests, and gives you career opportunities and things that you might be interested in and can do. I took it's about an hour and a half to do. You do it in like 30 minutes, 7 minutes. And I took mine over the weekend. Like I said, I wasn't good at anything, but no, it gave me a big career thing to look at. And the information on it is pretty in-depth. It's a really good situation. Kids can click on whatever is their strong interest or fit, and it gives you all the criteria or the jobs that are out there. You click on the job and you can read about what it does, how many years you have to go to school, what kind of degree you need to get to do it, what type of jobs, if you don't get a degree in that career field they have. And then it will go down to a map and you click on Oregon and it will tell you what the growth rate of that job is in this state. And quite a few that I clicked on are pretty high job rate things, 30-40% that are hiring in Oregon. You scroll down a little further and you'll find where they're at nationally. And those might be like 0.9%. I saw one that was like 36% growth rate in the state of Oregon, 0.9 in the nation. So it's awful relevant to keeping them in Oregon. So that part is really good. And then, like I said, it kind of gives them their own aptitude or pathway, and they can pursue education, how it fits into their career lifestyle or choice. And so it's CTE, apprenticeships, trades, 2 or 4 year colleges, or right out of the workforce. So,
And what grade do they start taking these?
next year, the whole school will take it 7 through 12, but after that, it'll be 7th and 9th graders. And what they show, your aptitudes don't really change. You are going to be good at what you're good at. What changes in those years is your interests and what you're exposed to could increase over time. So it realigns it again as you're going into high school.
High school.
And that is all.
Any questions for Mr. Ewing?
I didn't hear him say, I think the connection though, for a program like that would be CTE programming. If we know what things our students are interested in, where their aptitudes are at, that might help steer us in what sorts of programs and study we want to make available to students. It can work both ways. We want to serve them at the level that they're interested in, they need, and that will be beneficial to them. And to have some data to support some of the decisions is always helpful.
Okay. Mr. Watts, are you up there in?
I am. Can you hear me?
Sir?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we're winding down the spring sports season. It's been very enjoyable to watch a lot of the teams and individual sports in track and field have such a great spring season. Right now, our softball team is 10-2 on the regular season, 9-1 in league play, and are at the top of the league. And the playoffs will start on May 22nd. That's the same as baseball as well. Track and field have a meet in Toledo this Friday, and it's kind of a precursor to the district championships, which are going to be held on the 19th and 20th back at Toledo. And we have some athletes that are doing great in all sorts of different events, and we expect several of those to qualify for the state championships. Baseball is currently 15-3 and 8-2 in league, and expecting them to finish off strong. They have about 4 games left in the season. The rankings aren't current right now. They're coming out, I think, again tomorrow. Looking for them to have a great, strong finish to their season as well. Golf just finished their district championships at Tokatee yesterday and finished 6th in the district. The highlight was freshman Noah Sullins, who finished 6th as an individual. Unfortunately, he needed to finish in the top 5 to qualify for the state championships, but it was a great freshman season for him, and I know that he'll be at the state championship next year. So that being said, junior high had district's championship last Friday at Saislaw, and I think Johan finished 3rd in the discus, and we had several PRs that just kept getting better and better each week. That goes with the track and field at the high school too. They finally started to have the opportunity to participate in some warmer weather. As we all know, it's been a tough spring season for all the athletes. So that's been fun. Still currently looking for a football coach, volleyball coach. We're getting closer, but we're hoping to get that all taken care of here in the next couple of weeks. As for leadership has had a great run with doing some community service. They cleaned the Ruppy Field sign, as we talked about last time. The flowers went in last Thursday. I sent a picture to Lisa Ruppy, who is a good friend of mine, and showed her the picture, and she said, "You made my day." We're actually celebrating my sister's 70th birthday tomorrow, and I'll make sure to show him the progress. So that was awesome. We're gonna head to Highland tomorrow. Spend time with the kids out on recess and just doing more mentorship and spending time with the little guys. So that's about it. We're excited for senior night with baseball and softball. That's going to happen on next Friday when we host Bandon. That'll be fun. So hopefully everybody can make it there, and we'll see. Excuse me, that's not against Bandon. It's next Wednesday on the 17th at home against Myrtle Point. So I apologize for that. But we're right in the middle of trying to redesign the weight room. We're taking some stuff, all the old stuff is going to go. Of course, that'll be a big part of it, but also just cleaning it up and hopefully get some new machines donated and have that thing rocking and rolling here in another month. So we got a lot of kids that are fired up to get back in the weight room, and I'm excited to see the enthusiasm getting ramped up for that. So we appreciate everything you guys do, and thank you so much.
Brian, did you say we were looking for a volleyball coach too?
Yes. Yeah. Miles Fletcher took a great job in his career, moved forward to with the banking industry out to Eugene. And so unfortunately he had to resign from his position here.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any questions for Mr. Watts? Anybody?
Yeah.
I would like to add one more thing. I just want to say thanks to the Booster Club for everything that they do. They had an amazing night with raising $51,000 for the sports programs, and oh my gosh, it was an amazing night. And I know everybody that sits on that board, Joe and the Hebners and everybody the Bedards. My goodness, and I'm sorry, Mike, Jane, and everybody else that sits on the board. They just do an amazing job, and the sacrifice, time, and energy they give towards that function that we can't say thank you enough. So I just wanted to recognize them for all the hard work that they put into making sure that our sports programs can continue to thrive.
Thank you. Okay, ARE certified representative, Julie, are you out there?
I am. Good evening, and I don't really have a report this evening either. I know teachers are in the home stretch of the year and busy with state testing, all the end of the year stuff. Been working on Mother's Day presents this week, so it's really busy and lots of things going on, but I don't have anything other than that tonight.
Okay, any questions for Julie?
No.
Thank you, Julie. All righty, let's move on down to the technology report. Mr. Tipton.
Here I am. Well, let's see if we can get back here. It's real short. Basically, we're working on our internal projects. I told you last time about our transition to our new student information system, but it's still a year away. So we're working through that in preparation. Also looking at a couple other things that might help us, asset tracking, inventory management, and a help desk ticketing system that we can work with a little bit easier. And then just the same old documentation of our existing systems and platforms. So we know what we have and what we pay for and what we need and what we don't, et cetera. Then we have a list of summer projects that are a lot of facilities and maintenance kind of stuff, but they touch IT because we're having to move around computers and collect all the Chromebooks and, get all that stuff organized during the summer months. So that's what we're working on.
Have we offered seniors their Chromebooks to buy? Is this the first year for
We
them?
took action and approved that last month. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. On your coaching side, how's the ski thing going?
Trap shooting is going. We are finishing our 4th week of essentially a 5-week season. It seems like we're in a different conference this year than we were last year, which is interesting. Because technically our number of student athletes has gone down slightly. So we have 8 student athletes currently participating. We had a couple of personal issues, that can't be controlled, but, other than that, everything's good. We're, getting a lot of new shooters, some experience and hoping to expand, what we do for next year. So, got a call from Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation today, who helped us fill out a grant and is working on getting us some money. And we're gonna talk about those details in the next couple of weeks. So, yeah, that's what's happening. We got good weather now, so we're out there shooting and enjoying it.
Well, would you actually keep me apprised of what goes on with Rocky Mountain Elk? So,
Absolutely.
Karen Bedard and I are pushing on that pretty good.
Thank you.
Are our shooters gonna be able to beat our aeroplanes as far as the district goes?
Good question. So we don't have technically the same setup like, so I don't know about the archery, if they have a district situation like track and other sports, or if it goes right to state. I know some people did sign up for the state competition in Hillsborough, is that where I said it was? Yeah. So I'm planning on going this year and at least seeing what's what. We don't really compete as a team currently. It's individuals can choose to participate. And I think the more we learn about that, people will understand, parents will understand, hopefully. But yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Any questions for Tosh? All right, thank you, sir. Maintenance report. Michael, are you out there? Hello, Mr. Shabby.
About 5:30, when I was at the softball field, he was running a mower and he might still be out there.
He might be. I don't see him on the call.
Well, I hope he doesn't want to get in that big garage door when he's standing.
That might be what he's stuck on.
Well, I left the dog at home, so he get my pickup.
So
Sorry, I just got a text from Mr. Shoppy who says, can't get logged in. The link seems to be working, but I get the spinning wheel and nothing happens. So he's having some kind of technical issue.
Okay,
Sheriff,
yes.
is it appropriate to ask superintendent for an update on the office at Highland? I think that's kind of one of our,
The Highland office project is moving quicker than promised at the moment. I was standing there yesterday. The vestibule is framed, doesn't have doors in it, but it's framed. The flooring was being put in today. I was in this morning and they were finishing grinding it down and cutting the trim so that the flooring would fit. But the flooring guy is on site. His big trailer is the one parked outside the building. What's that?
the drywall's done.
Drywall's done. The lights, we were supposed to come in July, are in. Came in and they're in place. So it was a pleasant surprise. Talking to Michael about it this morning, the furniture that was ordered to be installed, which we've been storing, we need to start putting it together because it's going to start happening very quickly now. So, moving quicker than expected as of this week. We thought we were having a slow down and now all of a sudden everything's moving quickly again.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate that.
Did everybody get a chance to look at Rachel's report in your packet?
And she's in Sun River at a conference. Her soup asked her to attend, kind of last minute, so we knew she wasn't gonna be able to make this meeting tonight.
Geez, must be tough going to a conference in Sun River, huh?
It's the best time of year to be over there.
Yeah, no kidding. But I wouldn't want to be there Mother's Day. It's supposed to be 98 degrees there on Mother's Day. Okay. Superintendent, sir, it's time for your report.
This is a busy time of year, and quite honestly, there's a lot of stuff operationally that are just kind of running through my brain. I talked with my staff this morning and just kind of reminded them that we need to stay flexible and loosen our shoes because stuff seems to be moving faster than we can keep up with it. There's a lot of activity, which is good. We got some good stuff going on, the tree plantings and the outdoor schools and all the sports, and just busy and good things for kids. But it keeps us very occupied and work. There's a very limited, small number of behavioral challenges going on throughout the district. And that is not a reflection of the district. It gets a lot of attention, and when people are upset or noticing behavior, they're not paying attention to all the good stuff that's going on. And a behavior challenge has the ability to hit social media and to be out there and to run faster than any of the good news. And so I guess in my report and all the things that are keeping me busy right now, I want to just remember and remind that we have a majority, huge majority of our students and staff doing the right things, working hard, being where we need them to be as members of our school district. And while that doesn't always get enough attention, it isn't for a lack of the fact that it's there. We have a good district, we have good people, we have good students. And even though a hot button item might pop up, we are still surrounded by good students and good staff. I read an article this morning from OSBA out in Bend, teachers describing the classrooms as war zones. And I know there are behavioral challenges and there's incidences of behavior that are occurring, adult and student. I have to remember, and it is important that we remember all the good that is going on and that we don't let it get overshadowed by something on social media or the bad news that does get reported. I think last month I pointed out the crisis of staffing and how hard it is to get individuals to want to join education and stay in education, and we lost a lot in COVID. And this is a national problem. This is not a Reedsville problem, but it is a national problem. And we're all fighting for anybody with any ability to begin our employ. Bad news can't be allowed to overshadow what's right and what is actually happening. It gets the most attention. It is the squeaky wheel that's getting the grease. But if we lose sight of the good things and the right things, we're going to continue to suffer for our staff. And I don't want that to be happening here in Reedsville. We absolutely need to stay our course and continue to support with every ounce of our beings the right things, the right people, and the right students. And we will address and deal with behavior challenges as they occur, but they do not define us. So that's what I've got. In J1 of your agenda, you see the ARSP contract. We're going to bump that to June. HR has been scrambling with some challenges, and HR just could not get that final document. We were going to have a little signing part here, and we're going to just, have that happen. We'll bump it to June. It's done. Everything was agreed upon. You voted last month to ratify it. So we were gonna pretty up the document and just have Carrie and I sign it real quick in front of everybody. So we'll push it to June. Nothing to worry about, no problems. And again, it was an excellent session with the classified and went very well. And we're just tidying up the I's and the T's. Okay. Enrollment report, it's included in the packet. And the Rachel stuff is towards the back. For the activities. So purple divider. So last page before consent agenda in my dividers. Nothing. I'm never too concerned about our attendance. I'm actually going to be interested in our attendance when the 72 units are up there by Stateway. So what kind of bump that does or doesn't provide, but we're pretty cyclical. We're going to go up and we go down, and I don't know what we average 600, 610.
About that, have you spoke with the building administrators? If they're, and hoping that there's gonna be a huge influx of students, once they open those up?
I've not
And what
talked to
and if we're gonna take do anything, I don't know how to word this. Thinking, if we need to do something special for the large influx.
I don't think that they know who their people are going to be. They're advertising market value units. And will that continue to draw retirees into our community with, if you want a second place? Will it be families with children? I'm not sure that they really have a valuation on that. I haven't talked to them about, when they're getting close and they have their property manager in place, making sure that we can kind of reserve, if you will, 1 or 2 units for teachers and for staff, because housing is so difficult. And we try to bring somebody into our community, having a place where we know that they'll be able to do. The hospital has done that throughout the town, and it's a good plan. And so I haven't talked to them about that, but we want to deal with their property managers or later down the road. So I don't know that they know what
Well,
kind of people are going to rent from them.
Talking to Rob, one of the owners, I asked if it was possible when they do hire a property manager and they have an idea, because they're already got a list going, if it would be feasible, or if it would be for them to contact the district office to give us an idea of how many family units, they're renting to, so that we could prepare, or, that thing. I don't know if that'll happen. Rob's pretty good with his word, and I even, my information said, hey, if there's any questions, call me and I'll get a hold of John, our superintendent, and see if we can work that out, because I just don't want to get caught off guard.
We've got space, and we can take more students. We were averaging 650 when I first got here. On the second year, it was a pretty steady 610. We haven't changed much, but we've got space.
Do we have staff?
Your staffing is usually based on your revenues. Revenue is determined by your student population. If we gain more, we'll be able to hire more. It's sort of the balance. And you won't know until they show up what you need. Right now, our 8th grade is a huge, we're almost 70 kids in that grade level. Wow. But, we've got other grade levels with 38, almost half as many. So it's always kind of tricky. I've heard the administrators talk about when students come in, we get waves, but also we need the same grade band. So you might get a whole bunch of 2nd and 5th graders all year long. Right? They're looking to fill some of the other classes. So it's hard to control. I think my 2nd year, we were so high on our kindergarten numbers, we did hire a 3rd teacher for that grade level, and it didn't last. the numbers dwindle where we can manage them with few teachers, but we try to respond. And I'm Jerry's kind of stretch on his junior high electives because of that huge 8th grade class. We're probably looking forward to them being in high school classes and being able to filter them out a little bit.
I talked to a couple today. He's taking a job, a management job with Fred Wall. They have 4 high school kids, all girls, and they have 7 horses they gotta find homes for. And I'm trying to get them here instead of the Lawrence or Situsla area. So I'm even thinking about putting up a barn and taking their horses in so we can keep them here. But the mother was wanting to know, how the classes that I already talked to Jerry earlier today about, the classes that are available in our high school. And she's really she wants her girls to have a foreign language. And so I was excited to see that we had that and some others that are 2 of them are really into mathematics, and I was glad to see that we have available. So I'm trying to persuade them to come in here instead of going to Florence or Elton. So
I see no reason why we aren't on a pathway to providing world-class education here. When we talk about those things, and we have staff who are interested in learning and working together, and I think there's no time like right now for that stuff to start being developed.
yeah, I was really happy with it. Thank you, Mr. Ewing, for supplying that to me. So yeah, I just, if I get contacted for you, John, I'll make sure that the property manager, you're in the know on that, and probably the person that I'll have her contact or him contact. So,
Great.
thank you. Any other questions for John?
Yeah, I have one. Do they know when those apartments will be completed?
I have not asked that question. I'm hearing fall, but which month?
Yeah, they look like they would move it really
They,
fast.
the projected date is the middle of August right now.
Great contract.
That's not, I wouldn't call that fall.
Yeah, that's just now the first part of summer for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're shooting for, have half the units available, middle of August.
Very nice. Very nice.
So. Okay. Business presentations, nothing on the agenda. Consent agenda. Actions that are routine or usually call for no discussion, such as 40 minutes of previous meetings, acceptance of donations, and similar actions are often handled together in one vote by the board. I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda item number 9 as written.
I'll second it.
The move in second, all in favor, raise your left hand. Unanimously, thank you. Action item A, approve the 2023-2024 school calendar.
Okay, we had good participation from all the groups, if you will, classified union, teachers union, confidential staff in discussing pros and cons to calendars. There were some unique ideas, some kind of out of the box thinking. In the end, I don't have the exact number, but roughly 3/4 of the staff voted to push forward the agenda that you see. And it is strikingly similar to what we did this year. I would mention to the board that one of the ideas that sort of popped up and gained some traction, didn't gain any kind of a majority per se, but was a calendar where there were absolutely no Fridays. So imagining the Monday holidays that happen throughout the year, there was just never a Friday of school. So that the message is there's no school on Fridays would be consistent. That pushed the school year out a little bit longer into June. I said it didn't.
Does that include workdays or just school days?
School days to students, yeah.
Okay.
But there'd be a lot, I think there's 3, 4, 5 3-day weeks in school. So it was discussed. I mean, it was definitely an approach to these kind of what if thinking. On a note, most of the districts around us that are in our ESD are done with their calendars. A couple of them are moving towards 4-day weeks. It's becoming a little bit more common on the coast here. We were one of the outliers for a while, and now we're part of the majority. So if you are able to approve this tonight, we will pass it along to our constituents, and then we'll begin publishing it for families, next year, and to staff so that they know work calendars, and getting it out early is generally a good idea. So hoping to hear a yes vote on this item.
Having the art class on Friday out of school, our school in Gardner, how does that affect attendance at the high school for those students? If they miss it or they want to be with everybody else on that Friday?
No, they don't go when we have school on Fridays.
Okay.
They don't go, they
Okay.
go to school.
Super. I'd entertain a motion if everybody's ready.
I'll make a motion to adopt the school calendar as presented.
Second?
Second.
Been moved and second. All in favor, please raise your left hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you, John. Okay. Action item B.
Hey, Sharnan, will you push that school calendar document out to the buildings? Or,
Yes, I will send it right now.
thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Extend the superintendent contract until June 30th, 2026. That's 3 years out.
Yeah, we negotiated last year pretty well, and initially had the concept of a 7-year contract that gets me out to retirement age, and would be an indication of commitment. We learned that a 3-year contract is the maximum allowable under law, and so we had a discussion that we would just continue to roll that 3 years out in front of us. We're coming up to where we need to roll it again, so I'm asking tonight. The only adjustment to my contract would be that it goes through June 30th of 2026.
Any questions? We talked about this long and hard, so I'm hoping that you guys are ready for the vote. I'll entertain the motion.
I'll make a motion to extend the superintendent contract until June 30th, 2026 as written.
Second.
Been moved to the second. All in favor, raise your left hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. There you go, John.
All right, you're good, Jerry.
Okay. Action item C, small debt policy rewrite.
Thanks, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry.
Okay, we'll go through them in our typical format because I think we've had a good process here. Discussed a few of these with you in our individual meetings, so I think we're ready to go. I'll read it, let me know if you want to pull. We are on number 1. Wait, everybody ready?
Yeah, pull down.
Oh, do you want to pull number 1? No.
Policy goals, GA.
All right. Personnel policies. Yeah. Number 2, GAA personnel definitions for update.
Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. I would, scratch pulling
Okay.
1. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Don't tease us like that.
Number 3, GAB job descriptions, recommendations of update. Number 4, GB general personnel policies with recommended updates. Number 5, GBA equal employment opportunity with recommended updates. Number 6 is an AR, so that's information, and I'll have that out when it's complete. Number 7, GBAA, Fair Labor Standards Act, recommended for delete. Number 8, GBB, staff involvement, decision-making, recommended to keep. Number 9, GBC, staff ethics, with recommended updates. Number 10, GBCBA, alcohol controlled substance use, with recommended updates. Number 11, GBD, board staff communication, with recommended updates. Number 12, GBDA, mother-friendly workplace, recommended for delete. Replaced by number 13, GBDA, expression of milk in the workplace, proposed. Number 14, GBE, staff health and safety, with recommended updates. Number 15, GBEA, workplace harassment, recommended for proposal. Number 16 is an AR. Number 17, GBEB, communicable diseases, recommended updates. Number 18 is an AR. Number 19, GBEBA, staff, HIV, AIDS, and HBV, with recommended updates. Number 20, GBEBB, HIV, AIDS, HBV, staff accommodations, recommended for delete. 21, GBEBE, communication, staff, student, public, HIV positive and AIDS, recommended for delete. 22, GBEBDA, staff, students, rumor control, recommended for delete. 23, GBEBE, news media, HIV, AIDS, or HBV, recommended for delete.
Was HPV.
Hepatitis B.
Oh, okay.
It took me a second there. 24, GBEC, drug-free workplace, recommended for delete. To be replaced by GBEC, drug-free workplace, proposed. 26 is that AR. 27, GBED, medical examinations and drug testing, recommended to keep. 28, GBEDA, drug and alcohol testing, record query, transportation personnel, recommended updates. Number 29 is the ARs, one's for deletion, and the proposed. 30 is the proposed AR. 31, GBF, staff participation in community activities, recommended for delete. 32, GBG, staff participation in political activities, with recommended updates.
I don't know why. And I didn't bring my big thing, but I have a question mark on that.
32, we'll open that up. Carrie.
Sorry.
No problem.
Okay.
33, GBH, which is also gonna be in the student code of JECAC, staff, student, parent relations, recommended for delete.
I think I had that one marked with pull because of
Okay.
the not having the J's yet for,
Okay, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
And then 34 is JBH, along with the student section, JECAC, staff, student, parent relations, that we proposed. So those tying together, we'll address them with Bonnie. 35, GBHA, parental relationship, recommended for delete. 36, GBI, gifts and solicitations recommended for update. Number 37 is that AR. 38, GBJ, weapons in school, staff, recommended updates. 39, GBK and community chapter KGC, prohibited use, distribution, or sale of tobacco products and inhalant delivery systems proposed. And I'm gonna 3940, I'm pulling these two together for the both for the group of you. So I'll skip to 41. GBL, personnel records, recommended updates. 42, GBLA, disclosure of information, recommended for delete. 43, GBM, staff complaints, recommended for update. 44, GBMA, whistleblower, recommended for update. 45, GBN and student chapters JBA, sexual harassment, recommended for delete. And Bonnie, do you want to tie this in with the same questions?
Yeah, I think so.
So
Thank you.
45 and 46, Bonnie. 47, 48, and 49 are those associated ARs. So down to number 50, GBNA, hazing, harassment, intimidation, bullying, menacing, or cyberbullying staff with recommended updates. 51 is the associated AR. 52, GBNAA, JF, CFA, cyberbullying, recommended for delete. Bonnie says yes. I suspect we'll get all of them together. So Bonnie, you're pulling all of them there. Anybody else?
Since we haven't reviewed the J's that relate to those, that's why the question is.
We can get that. Does anybody else have polls on 53 through 57?
Yeah.
Let me address that part first. It's a good question, Bonnie. When you are going to make changes to some of these policies that are identical in staff chapter G as they are student chapter J or in community chapter K, all the G policies are staff, all the J policies are students, all the K policies are community relations. When we make the change here, then it is going to apply in that J chapter. So when you get there, it will already have been updated. So the action you're taking here is going to push it forward. The action you take here now is immediately replacing it. You're probably not going to get to J's till August.
Right.
But those individual policies will have been theoretically adopted in your May board meeting tonight. So it pushes forward. We're not going to have a lapse where there's not a policy. And if anything, we're just a little bit ahead and we'll just skip those as they come up.
And those will be defined in August when we get those J.
Yeah, because those policies are, for example, GBM/JBA. It is the same policy. It's coded G before J just alphabetically, but they're always linked together.
Okay.
And so when you get to the J's, JBA, you're not going to lose track that that was GBN also.
Okay,
Because they stay together. That's
okay,
part of how those policies are connected.
that helps a lot to know that, yeah.
So
And is the OSB rewrite been done for all of our policies through?
we, I believe, have G done. And it looks like, yeah, I see all the G's here. So even though you haven't received the second half of the chapter, I've got it. It's done. I don't see I, J, or KL. So
So those aren't, just because they haven't come to us, doesn't mean that they haven't been rewritten yet.
Yeah,
Or do they have, you generally have them rewritten by now?
yeah. Most of this stuff is now boilerplate linked to what the preferred policy is.
Right.
From OSBA. They've got it. They just haven't sent it to us
That's,
yet, and we haven't reviewed it yet in a board meeting.
okay.
Will we get the other Gs, when?
I will
Charmin,
print them now.
You're saying,
Sorry, I will print them now, John.
Charmin, no. How about pick them up in the next couple of days? We're not gonna do it right now, so that you can tune in.
well, that's what I want to know, how
Yeah.
soon we could get them, just as long as I have enough time to,
Yeah. How about in the next
At
week,
least-
we'll have them available and
summer days.
sit outside, drink tea and read policy.
That sounds really engaging. A rainy day's better than you do that.
So, yeah, Charmin, we'll shoot for about the next week or so. Okay, so Bonnie, does that address all the
Yes, it
goals for
does,
you
yes.
or the specific items?
Yep.
And I just have, I guess, points of information
Sure.
request about, it would be 56 and 57, seven.
Well, it's 7.
Yeah.
Okay, those are ARs.
And
Once it's-
just about, oh, wait, 50, oh, which ones did I go? Hang on. GBNAA, suspected sexual conduct, and all of those suspected abuse. So they come with ARs, but the ones in between aren't, so that would be the. I'm trying to-
GBNAA. What I heard you say?
Because it, yeah, in our packet that we get, it doesn't have the number, the number that is on this sheet in our board packet doesn't correspond over here, so it's a matter of trying to. And we can talk about it when we get to it. I'll pull them when, probably just answering the first one will help explain my question.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
let's go ahead and hit them because we've only got a couple other polls we're gonna back on, so. So, GBNAA, which is number 53, suspected sexual conduct with students and reporting requirements. Is that? Okay.
This one here. No, that's not one. And John, I can point to the language, the question that I have.
Okay.
And I think it's in the reporting. It's abuse of child language. So it would come. The first one would be GBNAB. Which, that's 55, right?
Or no, 55, you're right.
55, okay.
And then the same language in, well, the AR, but that's it. My question there will explain my question in general. I think that's why I'm saying it's a point of information. So I think that will work. We're just, we can talk about that one.
Yeah, go ahead. So let's,
Oh, you want to,
yeah, let's,
okay.
do your question, we're all here.
I thought you were gonna go in orders. No.
It's Carrie and I, and we're all turning these pages, we can just
Okay.
hit it and, I'll go back to ours. Mine is easy, I'll find out what his is. and-
Okay, so the language that I'm asking about is any district employee who has reasonable cause to believe that any child with whom the employee has come in contact with has suffered abuse. So I understand that as mandated reporters, this requires anyone to report suspected abuse with a child that they are in direct contact with, or they have. My question is about secondhand knowledge of a situation in the community and how we're required, or are we required we in the community are required to manage information that somebody has passed along to us.
When we get those secondhand reports, we, as administrative team, we always encourage the person making that report to us to be the reporter. Oftentimes when they don't want to, then we call and say, hey, I have a secondhand report. I heard from this about this child. And at that
Call
point,
DHS.
we live it with DHS and let them determine,
Okay.
does that meet their standard? We're gonna err on the side of the over-reporting because
Right.
it is so important as a part of a mandatory reporter job. We're just gonna err on
So
that
this is
side.
where my language, my question about the employee has come in contact with, and I'm not sure, like, obviously legals run over this. They understand that language, but it seems like it's a bit constricting for what we actually, the intent or the,
I
don't
um,
follow you. How do you feel it's constricted?
if,
because that says if you come in contact with a child. So that says,
at what point did you know there was abuse?
where did you hear about it? Did you hear about
You
this
see
all
the
the time?
kid's got the black eye, Carrie, you see the kid's got the black eye, you can see, oh, there's a problem there. But some other type of abuse may not be physical in nature, so just because they're in my classroom and the student doesn't say anything, and I don't see any indicator, I'm in contact with that student, but I may not have enough suspicion or enough cause to feel like there's anything I have to report without somebody saying something to me.
But another student comes to me and says, you know, I think there's something going on with so-and-so. So that's not a direct point of contact, that's a secondary contact.
And that's where we tend to err on the side of over-reporting.
Yeah.
So it's just it's about making sure that people understand that you don't ignore signs or signals of abuse. You know, just because you're not the person who
Saw it first.
saw it first or saw it directly. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we would tend to err on the side of over-reporting, and that's how we offer training. If you don't know, reporting. DHS gets to determine, that is their job to determine yes abuse, no abuse, and to investigate. And we're not the stewards of if that was abuse or not. We just make the report, make sure they have the information that we have, and then leave it in their hands. So, yeah, that's the training and the rhetoric that we would give. Does that help with the, okay. So going back to number 39 and number 40, these are, it's version 1 and version 2 of this in the language. They are the same policy. One, number 39 is, I'm gonna call it the short form, the short version, and number 40 is the longer version. I'm going to recommend that you adopt number 39 and that you do not adopt number 40 because I tend to err on the side of not wanting more language that is more restrictive when I need to be able to use common sense and suss things out. So number 39 meets all of the legal requirements. It's up to code, up to statute, addresses what we need, and still gives us the flexibility to think and be individual administrators. So I'm going to recommend that you adopt 39 and not adopt 40 when it comes to that point. Any questions or concerns? Carrie Jones, number 32, GBG staff participation.
Political activities.
Staff participation, political activities, yes. All right, give me just a moment. One. Okay, staff participation, political activities. One of the nice things about G's and J's is because it's staff and because it's students later on, those are so grounded in statute. There's been so many laws that pretty specifically say exactly what you're supposed to do. Most of these policies are pretty clean boilerplate. I'm happy to hear any question and try to help tease something out. Most of these things though have been pretty well vetted.
I have a question.
Okay,
Can staff sit on the board?
staff's on board, no. Yeah, once you're employed, you can't be a
How
board
about
member.
spouses of staff?
Spouses of staff, interesting.
We allow family members of
Yeah,
staff.
interesting, we have to be careful that it's a lot of times you'll be recusing yourself if you are the spouse of a staff member. Because you can't be seen as an ethics violation of voting for their raise.
Right.
And they're a direct recipient of that. So there's a lot of delicate maneuvering that a person does, but
Okay.
general good policy for students and, budgeting, as long as it's done with the entire scope, and that's something that gets me.
Well, there's a
narrowed
whole
down
lot
to
can be
standards.
manipulated in budgeting. I don't think there's a whole lot that can be manipulated in budgeting.
It's pretty clean. You have a lot of eyes on the work, but, you just have to be careful in the instances that you're not, you're not doing something to directly benefit your home or your spouse or something like that.
I just thought, I think my question was, and I'm sorry, I didn't give it. If it doesn't affect their position with the district, why would we, not allow them to be, participate?
When they're actively engaged in their role as an educator, then they need to remain neutral in positioning. So the first part of this policy, as I'm reading it, says you're absolutely allowed to have a political opinion, just like every other person in this country. When you're engaged in the act of educating students, you need to stay neutral and provide things fairly so that students make up their own opinions in those matters. The trickiest people are going to be our social studies teachers who have to discuss politics. Because what's the first question high school kids can ask a high school teacher about when they're learning about politics? Is, well, how do you vote? And maneuvering around some of that in a way that we inform students about context of issues without our leaning on an issue. So there's how we manage our workload without biasing young impressionable students with something that they need to make their own mind up about. So the first part of the policy is saying, yes, you may have your own. It talks about there's times and places where you need to not be actively involved. We have unions and they may want to support a particular ballot measure. They need to do that outside of their work homes and outside of their work days. Just so that they can say that there's a line specifically saying, I'm teaching now, I'm neutral now, I'm educating and following Common Core standards, and now I'm off work and I want people to vote for a certain thing a certain way. It just keeps a clear line so that we're not forcing an opinion on or young people when they can make up their own mind. Also talks about the very bottom, not using facilities, equipment, supplies in connection with political activities for any time during the workday. So
Shoot.
So political and social or ideologies, you know, images and stuff like that that's going on is only if they're teaching that area and only for that specific time. Is that correct?
So employees may exercise their right to participate fully in affairs of public interest on a local, county, state, national level on the same basis as any community member in a comparable position in public or private employment and within the law.
Okay, but in the classroom, they're not, they have to stay neutral on.
Yeah, you're gonna be tying a lot of hands of social studies teachers and
Well,
business.
what I mean is, I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're teaching a subject, and this comes up, I can understand, just putting up, whatever, if you're talking about the flag or the political, the social issues that are going on, I can understand it. But once that's done, that stuff comes down. That's what I'm asking.
And it talks about on controversial issues. Employees must designate the viewpoints they represent on the issues are personal or not to be interpreted as the district's official viewpoints.
Because when I was a school resource officer, I mean, it's years ago, but I can remember several times being in Tim Chuck's class, being in Audrey's class, being in Jeannie Sochi's class, over political things that were happening. And the way I read that, all three of them guys would be in trouble, be looking for a job.
And I've seen some flat masterful social studies teachers who can keep tying the question back to the kid. Well, if this is going on, how do you feel about it? Really trying to draw out the student's level of interest. And most times students default to what they hear at home and the value system that they're being raised in. But you really don't have to express your opinion on a political topic to get students to think about that political topic and learn from it. And it's a skill. And one of the very first things a high school kid's gonna ask a teacher is, well, what do you think? Is, they want to hear something different. You can present, I think you read the voters pamphlet, vote in favor because, vote against because. You can take students and give both sides of the topic without ever really saying which is yours. And you can instruct students that here's a couple sides on this issue. How do you feel about it? What do you think? And draw them back to their own conclusion. So we don't need to use our political opinion to educate. We can provide education and create thinkers and let them develop their own opinions and values on this stuff. And then when we're outside, we do possess all of our other rights. We need to vote according to how we feel, and hopefully people do take the time to vote. That was a nice opinion. Any questions on GBG and that political activity policy? Any further? So, Mr. Jones, if you want to take over your vote call, remember 39-40, I'm recommending one and not the other. I think the rest of it was pretty clean.
Need to take a vote on the one we discovered.
If you're so inclined, that would probably put many of these to bed.
Oh, well, wait, it's here,
Yeah.
That other which I don't know. That was considered a copy machine.
Here we go. Do you have any more questions on the meeting? Make a motion that action item C 1 through 39, 41 through 57 be approved as presented.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, raise your left hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Bonnie, you were the second?
Yes.
Bonnie was the second. Give just 1 minute here, please, Terry.
Pardon?
I need just 1 minute here, please.
Okay, moving down to number 7. This is the time for community comments virtual. Anything up here?
Oh,
Anything up there?
Nothing there. That's me.
Seeing none and hearing of none, I'll move down, and at this time, the school board will now move into executive session pursuant to ORS 192-660,
are we gonna take,
chapter 2, subchapter 1, which allows the board to meet in executive session to review and evaluate the employment-related performance of the chief executive officer or any public body, a public officer, employee, or staff member who does not request an open hearing. At this time, executive session. It is,
Yeah, let's see here.
shut down.
We want to stop recording.